It worked. First time's a charm. That's a good omen. Hang on. Focus on the face. I'm still looking quite tanned. Must have got my white balance still a little bit off. Can you see me? Can you hear me? We've got a good show this afternoon. Well, I think it's going to be good. Got a feeling it's going to be fantastic. Got a few eaglers in this afternoon. I'd love to see my eaglers in the nest. That's a bird analogy, that is. We've got Adrian in, we've got Sue, we've got Daniel, Phil, Bill. That rhymed, it's like I'm rapping. Got Phil and Bill, Sue and... No, don't know what rhymes with Sue. I do, but it's rude. Ollie's here. Let's see what else we've got here. I'm going to do some very quick intros, then we need to crack on because we've got a fantastic guest with us this afternoon. The computer is still being a little bit kind of slow. My setup here, I'm just going to make that any better. Let's see. Who have we got? Oh, hang on, I need to click that. That's why. We're fine. I think we're fine. Hola, ¿cómo estás? ¿Cómo está, is it? Muy bien. Sí. I don't know. I still need to work on the Spanish. Adams is here. Aspect Wall. We got Bradbury in. We got D. We've got Exploring Nature Together. What a fantastic name. We've got Father of Chickens. Wow. Father of Chickens, another great name. Fred the Red. James Jex is here. Ollie's here. Phil the Magician. Richard is also here. Koo. Hello to you. He hopes everyone's fine. I hope everyone's fine too. So this afternoon we have got a regular on my channel. I'm honoured to have him as a WP Eagler. It's Tony from Simplify Gardening. I'm going to be asking him about his stuff. He runs a very successful YouTube channel in the gardening niche, the gardening niche. I'm going to be talking to him about actually American words today. But yeah, he's got a very successful YouTube channel. By the way, you'll find links to Tony's stuff in the description. Got a website, got a YouTube channel too. The YouTube channel is like 270 something thousand subscribers. It's pretty big. So yeah, I've got some questions for him, but of course I'm happy to take your questions and put them to Tony, and I'm sure he'll be happy to answer them. Just one very quick thing before we bring Tony in. Of course, I'll try and do a giveaway at the end of the stream. Looking for 88 likes, purely so I can play that sound effect. Steven says he might want to check his site on mobile, including nav ads are causing havoc. Yes, he's aware there is a problem with the site right now. It's bad timing, I know. It's an Ezoic thing. They're looking into it for him right now. But anyway, I think Tony's ready. Looks like he's ready, so I'm going to try and bring him in and bring him over to... What side is that? Is that the left, the right? I don't know. Let's see what happens. Yep. There he is. Tony? Say something
hey
for me. Oh, you are there. You're there. I can hear you. Can everyone see and hear Tony? Let me know in the chat. I'm sure you can. I can see him. I can hear him. I'm going to just adjust my camera a little bit now so I fit a little better. There we go.
How is everyone?
I think everyone's fine. They're excited to see you. So let's start with the introductions. For those people out there that don't know who you are and what you do you just want to give us a quick introduction?
Yeah, my name's Tony O'Neill. I'm a firefighter by trade, and my biggest passion is gardening. So I started a YouTube channel on gardening, a blog on gardening, and it's what I plan on doing for the rest of my life.
Wow, that's fantastic. Does everyone in Wales like gardening? I get the feeling that they do. It's such a lovely green land. I guess people, want to get into gardening. We were having a chat before we started, and one of the things you said to me, which kind of was really interesting, was that you wanted to grow food for your kids. You didn't want them eating stuff, I don't know, from the supermarket, whatever. Is that something you continue to do? Is that possible, like all year round?
Well, I've been self-sufficient for all of our veg for the last 12 years. And We're about 85% self-sufficient for fruit as well. So yeah, we're not far from that. The only thing we don't have at the moment is obviously our own meat.
I was going to ask actually, are you vegetarian? Obviously not with that comment.
No.
Um, and you've not thought about uh, rearing pigs and chickens and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it's I'd love to have my own small holding, but here in Wales, it's really hard to get land where I live, and just a couple of acres of land with a property on would end up costing maybe upwards of £800,000.
Wow.
So I'd have to travel much further west, and I've got other responsibilities around this area, because my partner's got family up in London and what have you. So if I was to go further west, it would add another 3 hours traveling time when she goes to see them.
Yeah.
So, so
Wow.
there's a trade off at the moment. But if something came up around here that was the right price, who knows? But property prices in the UK have gone crazy, as you know.
They have. Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about your stuff. So you've got the YouTube channel. You started the YouTube channel ages ago, didn't you? Like originally back in 2007. You
Yeah,
started, but that
two
was
years
just
after
as a bit
YouTube.
of a fun, a bit of a place to store your videos.
Yeah. Yeah. So YouTube had been out for just 2 years when I actually started the actual channel, and like you said, it was originally just to store footage and what have you. And I was keeping all sorts on there. Memory cards were really expensive back then, and I decided, well, why not use this? It's free, so that's what I did. And I uploaded for about 5 years, just footage that I just wanted to store there. I didn't even think other people were going to end up watching it. And in 2012, I decided to scrap that because it was just a hodgepodge of footage. And I decided at that time, my children had just been born and I wanted to grow all of their food for them. So I decided then to sort of keep a video diary, if you like, and that's when the channel was created properly. So I deleted everything that was on there, and then I started making content. And I made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't realize what I was doing. But even back in 2012, I had no sort of conception of making money online at the time. So it was just really a storage thing, but put in a way that people could view it.
That's amazing. But now, as I mentioned, it's up to 270 odd thousand subscribers. Is it?
Yeah.
And you are earning enough money from YouTube and your website to give up the firefighting. You're just kind of waiting for the right time for that.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, we could have given that up probably last year, maybe March of last year. We could have like quit work and just done it full time. But YouTube is quite a fickle place, with people, being banned from it for no reason. Like YouTube will always ban and then worry about dealing with things afterwards. Well, of course, when you're relying on that income, you can't. So I wanted to diversify a little bit, and that's why the blog was started as well.
yeah, that is the good thing about having your own website rather than relying on someone else's platform. Um,
Yeah.
Although, to be fair, even with a website, you're still quite reliant on Google. It always comes back to Google with regards to them sending you traffic and things like that.
Yeah, it does, but they can't just switch it off, can they? They can switch off sending you traffic, but the
Yeah,
work is still there. Whereas with YouTube, if they switch it off, you lost everything.
yeah, it's quite a scary thought. Don't say that too much; it makes me worried. Um, okay, so just let's talk about YouTube a bit more because I know YouTube is something that there's a few people in the chat. They do it. Carl, for example, is here. He does YouTube, but your YouTube growth was slow, wasn't it? It was slow, and I always say this with regards to all of these online businesses: they take longer than you think. And so you got serious with the channel in 2012, but I think even after 5 or 6 years, you were still only on about 5,000 subs. Is that right?
Yeah, I think people today they want everything yesterday, and they're not prepared to put the effort and work into it. You see, all the big names that you're seeing today, they like a prime example would be uh, you know, some of the huge ones like J. Paul and stuff like that, and
KSI and
those
all
big
those
ones. Yeah,
PewDiePie and all
yeah,
those guys.
PewDiePie, all of those channels. Well, they've been around for an entire age, and
Yeah,
they were really unsuccessful in the beginning, just like I was, and it took them time to learn what was needed and to present and everything else, and then how the algorithms work so that you can then get things to grow. I mean, in my story, from 2012 right the way up until 2017, that's how long it took me to get 5,000 subscribers. YouTube back then wasn't like it is today, where everybody is on there, so you just didn't have the audience like you have today.
Yeah.
And it took me a long, long time. And then in 2017, I started to take it seriously. By 2018, I was up to 18,000 subscribers. And then from there until today, it's just gone ballistic. And and now, like I said, today we're on to 272,000
Yeah,
subscribers.
that's amazing. That's fantastic. Have you got your YouTube plaque?
Oh yeah, that's in the other room, and we had that at 100,000 subscribers.
Yeah, that's
Um,
my one goal. If I get that, I know that I've made it. If I can just get to 100,000.
yeah,
But it's interesting. I know that this is the case with websites and YouTube. It's often very exponential, isn't it? It goes along doing nothing, and then suddenly it just lifts off and explodes like a rocket going into orbit. And
yeah,
then
and
once you get that
I
momentum,
think
it
as
just
well.
grows so quickly. I bet you're probably getting thousands of subscribers every day now, are you?
Yeah, I mean, I think like in the summer months, I was doing 20,000 subscribers in a week.
Wow.
Um, it's but I think the problem you've got when you first start is that YouTube don't know who you are, what your channel's about. There's not enough content on it. And it's exactly the same thing when you're blogging. It takes them a long time to find your audience,
Yeah.
and then, but when they do find your audience, you get that growth curve, and it gets bigger and bigger because you also have the content on the channel, so people can binge watch you,
Yeah. Get
where they
really into your
can't do
stuff. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
when you. Yeah, absolutely. So if someone new finds you, they don't just watch one video, then they go on and on and on and on. And I've always, something I learned over the last few years is to always use a handoff at the end of your videos, because if someone gets to the end of your video, they're invested in you, because most people don't get there.
So, what
And
kind of thing do
too
you say
many.
at the end of your video?
So whatever at the end of my video is, I always say, look, I hope you found value in this video. And so if this video was about potatoes, for argument's sake, growing potatoes in containers is a great way to do it. And as you can see, you get great results. And this is why in this video, you'll learn how to water these containers properly. So
Oh, so
there's
very
a, there's
related
a
content.
yeah, it's totally related. There's a single video at the end, so that there's no choice, because when you give people choice, they don't
They
know what to
stop.
do.
It's like when my
Yeah,
wife goes into
absolutely.
Subway, she can't order a sandwich. There's too many questions.
Yeah, exactly. So you give them a single video, and it's always on topic, and that way, it's just a natural progression for them to go from one to the other.
That's a
It's
good tip.
much easier. Yeah.
I like it. Let's have a couple of questions from the Thursday crew. Samantha says she dreams of travelling to Wales.
It's a
Um,
great place.
yeah, I love Wales. Something like I love fairy tale mountains, green lands, waterfalls, lakes. It's got it all. Um, I've been to recently. My last trip to Wales was up near Bangor. I went down the world's longest zip line up at
Yeah,
whatever it's called. You know where it is, across
yeah,
an
yeah,
old quarry.
yeah.
You have to
That's
go up a
right.
mountain to go down it. It's fantastic. But anyway, Samantha actually has got a question. She asked, or she's curious to know, are you still using keyword research to help you generate ideas, or do you just think of ideas?
Okay, so I think I'd probably get smacked for this, but the keyword research tools for YouTube, like TubeBuddy and what have you, they've got their uses, but it
vidIQ,
isn't
yeah.
for, yeah, they've got their uses, but it isn't for finding keywords as such for your thing. People think about, oh, I've got to stuff keywords in and tags in and this, that, and the other. YouTube have gone so far from that, that it means absolutely nothing. Um, what a lot of people need to realize is that, and I was talking to Alex before this, is that you need to think about topics. So very much now the way Google is working with their blogging, you pick a specific topic for your video and you stay on point.
Yeah.
Whereas too many people are all over the place. They don't stay on topic, and then when YouTube look at the video, they don't actually understand what the video's about, so they can't find the audience for you. Now, the search side of YouTube is really good in the initial outset to find an audience. But when you start getting bigger, 5, 6, 7, 8,000 subscribers, you need to be looking at YouTube's promotional algorithms. So, like the home and the suggested,
Suggested
they,
videos, related videos, all that stuff. Yeah.
yeah, 9/10 of their views come from those two algorithms. Search is important when you're new because you need to be able to have videos be pulled so that you get the initial views that YouTube can then use to find these audiences. And when you can do that right, then you're laughing. So going back to the question, the topic is really important. Stay with your videos on one specific thing. So whether I'll use gardening as excuse me, let me just hang this up. Sorry about that. When you're talking about, I'll use gardening as an example because that's what I do. So if I was doing a video, I would do it specifically on watering potatoes,
Yeah.
or I would do it on planting potatoes or harvesting potatoes. So rather than just a mishmash of stuff about potatoes, stick to a specific theme within that, and then YouTube knows exactly what audience will take that video and go from there.
Yeah.
Thumbnails are
So,
really
in terms of your
important.
blog, is that a similar approach to your articles on your blog, or are you using keyword research for those?
So I do keyword research for my blog, but it is always topic based as well.
Yeah.
So I won't just pick a topic and just go and write about it. I'll still do the keyword research with the blog, but I probably go into that a lot more than most would. I will. All of my subheadings are all questions, if you like, in themselves,
Yeah.
and so they all have. So every sort of subheading is a standalone snippet, if you like, that Google could take out of the article. Now that they're doing that right throughout the article rather than just the title and snippet, they could take any sort of passage out of the article. So I make sure that all of my subheadings are all now standalone questions, and that they're all based around the original topic of the title. So, but I do a lot of research around whether or not I'm going to write a specific part of the article. That's the only downside to when you outsource writing, is that people are still writing like it was 1995, and the subheading is lighting. Yeah, well, to Google that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So you need to really expand that now, especially with the new algorithms like that have been coming in, and the new mem algorithm and things like that. So it's really important to understand what's going on there. They're using so much rich snippets and rich SERP and stuff like that now, that you really need to sort of go above and beyond everything else. Like,
Yeah, for sure. A few more questions. D asks, what do the other firefighters think about your YouTube career?
well, when I first started doing it, I had some grief, and
Yeah.
and I remember this one year. For those of you who have seen the channel, and those of you who haven't, go to the channel and try and find it. I did one of the most dodgiest Christmas messages ever, and it was all green screened, and it was dreadful, and that done the rounds right around
The fire station.
all the brigade and the fire
Oh.
stations and everything. It was played on all the tellies every time I walked into a station.
Oh.
But the funny thing is, over the years, I'll get messages off them, or text messages off people, or emails or whatever. Oh, Tone, I'm growing these in the garden, but this is happening. What do I do?
And
So
you
all
send
of
them
a
a link to
sudden
one of
now,
your videos.
yeah, exactly, yeah. So I mean, they love it, and people have, like, they ask, like, obviously the money side of things I don't tell them, uh, but I've said to a few of them that I'm looking to sort of like leave next year, and they sort of like raise an eyebrow and thinking, Christ, it's obviously working, you know?
Doing all right then, yeah. Can't be doing too bad.
Yeah.
This is a good question as well from Bill. Have you ever been approached to host a TV gardening series? I don't know, as what's the guy's name? Alan Titchmarsh. Has he given you a call or any? And Charlie Dimmock, all that lot?
No.
No.
No, I've done various sort of things like at the Malvin shows and stuff. I've done talks there and what have you. But to be honest with you, I wouldn't have the time to do that. And for the money that they would pay me to do that, I would lose too much
Yeah.
because that time is valuable. It's time I could be creating assets for my own business
Rather than
without
just getting paid
creating
for your
asset for
time, yeah.
them. Yeah, absolutely. For them, to them, it's just like another job, isn't it? They're going to
Yeah.
give me money for my time, whereas I'm not going to earn something from that. The whole point behind me creating assets here is I get paid for them time and time and time again.
Yeah.
And a prime example of that, I was saying to you about an avocado video.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
And
So this is an amazing story about how you made one change to a YouTube video and it exploded.
yeah, so I created back in 2018. You can see it on the channel. I created a video about growing avocados, and I worked really hard on this video. And as you usually find, the videos you spend all the time planning and working on and filming and editing, they always the ones that seem to flop. And this video did that, and I put it out. I was well chuffed with this video, and I was expecting it to soar off, and it didn't. It did 4,000 views in a whole year. I was devastated. And um, so all the way through 2018 it did this 4,000 views, and in 2019 it did a little bit more. It had a little pickup and it went to 12,000 views. And I was like, oh, what a waste of time. And then early of 2020, I decided, I can't remember what it was, something sort of said, this thumbnail just doesn't look right. So I decided to take a new screenshot and make a new thumbnail. And I changed that thumbnail, and within the first week, it was up on something like 100,000 views. And sorry, in the first day, it was on like 100,000 views. It went
Wow.
absolutely ballistic. And now that video is just short of like 1 million views. Now, that video I made back in 2018, and to date, that video has made me nearly £9,000.
Wow.
So it's something that I could have just left it, but I changed the thumbnail and it went. But if I hadn't made that asset, I would never have made that money either. And it continues every year. I'm earning money on that video.
Every day it's
and,
making you money.
Well, every day, yeah. I mean, it's getting 3,000 views a week at the moment, still, even as we're going into winter. So, but
have you got any like tips for any budding YouTubers out there on thumbnails like myself? What would you say in terms of when you come to create a thumbnail?
So one thing I learned with thumbnails, what I used to do, I'd be taking. I would make my thumbnail up or in Canva or wherever the case was, and I wouldn't give much thought to the thumbnail. Like if it was about like avocados, for argument's sake, the original thumbnail was like a bowl of avocados, one split in half on a table, and that was just a screenshot of it, and I did that in Canva. And the issue that had was it didn't really say what the video was about. So I took the new thumbnail of me holding 2 avocados in my polytunnel with all of the other avocado trees behind me and grapes and this, that, and the other there. Now, YouTube uses part of Google's algorithm, which is a brain called Google Brain, and that can read everything within your thumbnail. And what it does is it applies tags to everything. So for argument's sake, say you were in a supermarket and your thumbnail was in a supermarket, it would notice that it's a supermarket, so it would tag it was supermarket. It noticed that there were shelves behind, so it would tag it with shelves. It noticed there's beans on the shelf, so it would target with beans. Then it would pick up on what brand it was, so it would target with the brand. So this Google Brain thing is really, really sophisticated. And when you know that it's doing that, you can then stage your thumbnails in order to feed that sort of algorithm. So you can push it around. So you can base everything based around that sort of avocados. So to me, then in that aspect, I'd be thinking, right, okay, what are people going to expect when I'm talking about avocados? Well, they're going to expect big bushes behind me, and and avocados, and me, and growth in a polytunnel, that sort of stuff, and that's where I went with it. So
Ah,
you just need to think a little bit more about it. What I found is that people are not. Uh, they'll put like a pink background or something, because that used to be a thing where like the psychedelic colors were attracting attention, but that was before all this Google Brain thing, and they're still doing that. And they put in a few words and a picture of themselves with a silly face,
yeah.
um, and the shocked faces and stuff don't
Yeah,
work anymore.
I'm guilty of that. Yeah. Okay.
But so as far as thumbnails go, I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not great. I'm getting around about between an 8 and 10% CTR.
That's better than
Um,
me. I mean, I've just recently changed my thumbnails. You may have noticed, and I've seen a little. I
yeah,
was only getting like 3% before. I'm now up to maybe 5-6%. And obviously,
yeah, yeah,
that moving that needle on the CTR has a big effect on
massive.
everything, because you get
Yeah,
more clicks for your impressions, and then Google sees that you've got a higher CTR, so it says, okay, this video is pretty relevant. People are clicking and engaging with it, so you get more impressions, and it
yeah,
kind of
that's it.
expands
And
like that.
and sometimes you just need that one thing, like with the avocado video, for argument's sake. Google didn't have enough data to be able to produce an audience for it. When
Yeah,
I changed the thumbnail, it got enough views going in that they could say, well, this audience is working well with it, so let's share it out more to this audience. And then they've got enough people within that audience that they've shared it out to, that have watched it, and they go, well, they've watched this as well, so let's push it over there. And that's what happens, and that's why the suggested algorithm is so good, and why most of the views are on the suggested algorithm. um, but yeah, I mean,
just quickly on the
thumbnails are
thumbnails. I
so
noticed you add
important.
text to your thumbnails. I hear people say you should add text. You shouldn't add text. It seems to be working
Mm.
for you. I noticed you also seem to basically just copy the title of the video into the thumbnail.
Yeah,
Have you tried
so I
without
did it.
text?
Yeah, I've tried. I've done B testing on both without and with text, and with using text that says the same thing but is different. And I've found that sometimes it just doesn't work. Other times it does. So with text, I've always found that the Google Brain algorithm picks up the text as well. And I think you'll find it's why the likes of Mr. Beast, if you watch any of his videos now, even in his video, he's got text on the screen that is basically repeating everything he's saying,
Yeah.
because that's a different side of the algorithm picking that up. So if he doesn't get understood by one side of the algorithm, the other algorithm's picking it up.
Oh, I
So
see. Yeah.
there are multiple reasons behind it by the text, but I found that sticking to the same thing is giving me better results, and that's why I've done that.
Sticking with the text. Okay, let's get through a few more questions. I think Carl had a couple of questions. I think he asked whether what makes more money, YouTube or the blog.
At the moment, it's YouTube. Um, I don't mind saying. So my YouTube channel, just off the AdSense at the moment, is earning on average about £4,000. In the summer months, it's much higher, and then sort of like around November, December, it drops down to around about 2.8 or something like that.
Yeah.
But on average, it's about 4,000. But then on top of that, I make sponsored content as well, sponsored videos and what have you. The blog is still relatively new, and for those of you that blog, I only started the blog last September, so the blog is only now just starting to have this first sort of batch of content starting to rank. It's doing not bad. It's doing around about 1,500 quid a month.
Okay, that's pretty
Um,
good.
and so, but I've got, at the moment, I've only got something like 36 articles that are ranking, and
Okay.
I've got 348 articles on the website that are still, so over 300 of them are still to rank. So by March they should all be sort of getting up there, which is perfect for the next growing season. And I expect that the blog will be catching up with YouTube pretty quickly by that point.
I hope so.
So I'm
Follow on
seeing
question, actually.
yeah,
Yeah,
go
go
on.
on. Sorry.
I'm seeing massive jumps in Azoic every day. Like last month, my ad earnings with Azoic was only 200 and something dollars. This month it was like 800 and something.
Wow.
So it's I'm seeing massive jumps with that, but I'm also seeing huge jumps in number one, number two, and number three rankings too. So
That's
so
good. I
that's
mean,
good.
these things do take time, don't they?
Yeah,
Yeah, the
yeah,
follow-on
absolutely.
question from Carl was, which would you rather, make a video or write a blog post?
Um, I'd rather make a video because it's easy for me to do now. When I first started making videos, I was terrified. I tell you how bad I was. My knees used to shake, my hands used to shake, and everything when I'd film. It was dreadful. And but like I said, it's like anything else. I was outside my comfort zone completely. But then over time, that comfort zone just stretched. And now it's just like it's like breathing now. You can do it with your eyes shut. That's easy for me. Whereas blogging is still relatively new. Um, well, I'm saying new. It's a year old now, but there's a huge learning curve with blogging as well. And but I've spent the last year learning that, and now I think I'm producing blogs that are worthy of getting the top spots, and making me money, which is what it's about.
Exactly, that is what it's about. Okay, I'm going to quickly do a few questions. Then I've got a few other things of my own that I want to ask. We've touched on this already. Is there any way that you deal with the seasonality in any specific way? Or is it even the low months are still okay?
So the low months are still okay, but the best way to deal with seasonality is to make sure that you're not that your channel and your blog uh, isn't caught up in a season. So what I used to do on my channel was I would always it would always be based around just growing vegetables, and that is really seasonal. And I noticed like through the spring and summer it'd be massive, and then come sort of August time it would just drop off like a brick. That was no good to me, and I started producing other videos then, because I got quite a lot of rare house plants and stuff like that. So I started creating some videos and blogs about those. And so what that does, it draws that seasonality out, because people still have these house plants through the winter.
Yeah.
So what I'm doing is I'm stretching that, but also now I've been educating people more in growing through the winter as well. What can be done in the winter months and things like that. So what I've been doing, I've been stretching out that seasonality a little bit. There's still a little bit there, but nothing like it used to. I mean, now, over the years, I show people how to make Christmas decorations out of plants from their garden for Christmas. So there were ways of dealing with it that still stayed on topic,
So basically,
and
you
it's
just think
stretched.
outside of the season, and what content can you make that outside of the kind of core season of your niche.
Yeah,
There's bound to be
I
stuff that you can create content on.
well, I mean, I did a video on aloe vera, which was one of my first videos in stretching outside of the vegetable stuff, and it crashed as well. Um, and then all of a sudden, that video took off as well. That's got 800 and something thousand views on it now.
858,000. I can see it now. You made it 3 years ago.
Yeah,
It's your second
yeah.
most popular video, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And it's things like that that you look at and you think, right, okay, so for the last 10 years I've been making videos about vegetables. I make one video about a different plant, and now that's become my second most popular video. So it makes you think, right, okay, so there is room to maneuver within my niche. And that was why originally the channel was called Tony's Allotment.
Oh,
but
really?
people in but people in in the US didn't know what an allotment was, and that was where my biggest audience was. So I rebranded a couple of years ago, and I rebranded it to Simplify Gardening, because that encompasses everything about gardening. So whether I want to talk about vegetables, mowing grass, house plants, aphids, or whatever I want to talk about. It's all now encompassed in that.
You've got
And
a
in
lot
fact, the
broader.
blog covers everything. Yeah.
Well, that's interesting. Let's talk about that for a second. You made a conscious decision a while back to start speaking in Americanisms
Mm.
with a Welsh accent, so that's good, I think, because you realised that the big audiences online, they're in America, aren't they?
They certainly are. Yeah. And I was noticing an upward trend anyway, and I found that probably around about 30 or 40% of my comments were from people from the US, and a lot of the US growing zones are very similar to my growing zone here in Wales, so it suited perfectly. The problem you had was they weren't searching the terms I was using. So
Mm.
when I was saying autumn, they don't search that, they search fall. So I started saying the word fall in my videos, and I had massive backlash from people in the UK. You won't believe it. And
Well, we hate using
I,
Americanisms here in England and in Wales
yeah,
and in the UK.
absolutely. And I was called a sellout and all sorts of stuff by people who had subscribed to me for years. And I thought, do you know what? A stand needs to be made at some point, because you can be held captive to your audience, which is detrimental to your growth. And
Yeah.
I'm not saying you don't take your audience into consideration. Um, and some of them even unsubscribed from me when I started doing that. They're all subscribed back now, mind. But the point I'm trying to make is
They were
that,
making a protest against you, yeah.
yeah, and but yet it's like anything else. If someone spends like you know, a whole day or a week or whatever it is on a video, um, and they've put that effort into that video, the planning, the filming, the editing, and everything else that goes around the video. You know what it's like because you make it yourself. It's
Yeah.
a lot of work, right? And if someone puts all that effort in and then only puts it towards their smallest group of people, it's just crazy to do that. The idea is that you want to get as many people to view that video as possible. So you're going to aim it towards your largest audience. Now, the
Yeah, makes sense.
US at the moment is 85% of my audience. So it's a huge chunk. If I was to ignore that, my channel would be dead tomorrow. The other thing as well, for those who are looking at making money and blogging and video on YouTube, the US adverts on AdSense, they pay 4 times the amount they do in the UK. There is so much competition out there. When they're bidding for ads, it pushes the price up.
Yeah.
And no offense to anybody in the UK, because I love the UK. I'm in the UK myself, but the UK are cheap. They do not like spending money. They don't like supporting. They don't like doing anything. Whereas the US will do it. And I know it sounds blunt, but realistically, that's how it is.
Yeah.
And it's the reason why the big ad companies like AdThrive and Mediavine and to some extent Zoic, not so much now, but especially AdThrive and Mediavine, they won't even take you on unless your biggest part of your audience is US.
Yeah. Because that's where the money's
You
at.
know, absolutely. And it for me now, it's a business. It's no longer a part-time sort of hobby, if
Bit
you
of
like.
hobby, bit of fun. Yeah, it's getting
Yeah,
serious.
yeah, absolutely, yeah.
So that's interesting. Let's go for a few more quick questions, and then I've got a few more things I want to ask you about. It's all really interesting stuff. Thank you for coming on and sharing it.
No problem.
Okay, Fred the Red. Yeah, I'm a little bit behind the chat. I'm going to try and catch up. Currently building an affiliate content site for raised garden beds. Sounds like you might be in a very similar niche or niche to yourself. Yeah, most is content. Should I add video even though it's not his own video content? What are your thoughts on that? Have you got any experience on that? I guess that's not such an issue for you as you have got your own video content.
Yeah,
But
I
if, for
always got my
example, you
own
were
video
writing
content.
blogs.
I think it's good to have video within your blog because in Google's eyes, it makes the actual blog look like it's got more content that is a better experience for the reader. So whether it's your content or not. Personally, if I was you, I would go and make your own content, because that way you can then use that content to actually sell your product much better than anybody else could.
Yeah, makes sense. Sue helps me with lots of stuff. She's WP Eagler. She's recently developed an obsession for bamboo. Do you think it would be a large enough niche to go for, and large enough niche? I mean, this kind of goes back to what you were saying a minute ago, that actually going broad is really helpful because you can avoid seasonality, you can reach out to new audiences. Do you think bamboo would be too specific?
I don't think I would just niche that far down. If you think about it, first off, you'd have to have someone with a garden big enough for bamboo, unless you're going to be looking at just small clumping varieties. Then you've got to find people who want bamboo in their garden. Then you've got to find the people who are looking online for bamboo. Then you've got to look, you think about it, they're going to be buying one bamboo, and that's pretty much their sort of thing done, because most people, especially around here, they may not have a huge garden. So one or two bamboo in there is going to fill it. And, so I think you're not going to get someone coming back constantly for those views and things. So I think it'd be a really hard niche to not only monetize, but to keep going as far as ongoing views and to build any sort of authority in.
Makes sense.
Like I said,
yeah.
I did the vegetable growing, and even that was too small. So I think you really need to sort of look at expanding out. Sometimes it's better to have a broader name and then build topic-related clusters, if you like. So nothing wrong with having like a gardening channel name and having bamboo silo, if you like.
Playlists or silos, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that would be perfect way of doing it. Building a silo or something like that.
Quick question from Baz. What's it like going down a fireman's pole?
I prefer to take the stairs, but it's fast. Honestly, you get on these poles, it's like they grease the things up. I'm sure of it, because you get on there.
It's basically just like falling from a first floor.
In the floor,
Yeah.
But,
Carl, this is going back to when the fireman used to play videos. Carl's boss made a song and video about his YouTube and played it to the staff canteen for weeks. They're just jealous. I think mainly they're just jealous. They think, wow, this guy's doing his own thing. He's on YouTube. Let's take the piss out of him, because we wish we were doing it.
I think a lot of people, they worry about what other people think. And like I said, even back when I was doing in 2012, when I started doing the gardening channel properly, people didn't really understand YouTube there, and the fact
that you have a proper job.
You're never going to make money on that. What are you doing, But today it's more accepted today, because they've seen the likes of Mr. Beast and J. Paul and all that making millions and millions and millions of pounds.
Yeah. Ollie has got a fantastic question that leads me on to what I want to talk to you about now, which is, would you ever advertise other products for other companies that are not affiliates, home-based, for example? And we were talking about this before we came on the stream. Sponsored videos. Sponsored videos is a big part of YouTube, isn't it? As soon as you start getting a few subscribers and a few views, companies will start reaching out. Can you make a video on this? Can you include our product in your next video? That kind of thing. You've done some sponsored videos and you've learned a few lessons from doing it, haven't you? So tell us a little bit about sponsored videos.
Yeah, so for me, when I agreed to do a sponsored video for any company, firstly, I pick the product, because I want to be able to use a product that I know is going to not only benefit me because it's going in my garden, but also is going to benefit my audience. But when I arrange a contract with these people, I will write into the contract that it's a completely unbiased video that I'm going to make, and that if they don't want that, they shouldn't sign the contract. And the reason for this is I won't be held. To me, my audience is the most important thing ever. I've spent
your integrity,
10 years
your credibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's more valuable than anything else.
Yeah, and as I was telling you earlier, Alex, I had one company that agreed to the contract. I made the video, I hated the product, and I let everybody know about that. And that company still won't talk to me.
At least they didn't sue you, though.
Yeah, but even if they'd sued me, they couldn't. I had a written contract. They'd signed it saying
Yeah,
that they knew that's what I was going to do.
yeah,
So, at the end of the day, I don't want to bag anybody's product out. And um, if I don't use it, you will never see it on my channel, firstly.
yeah,
Um, and a prime example, what you find is that as you get bigger and bigger, like initially, what will happen is you'll get approached by companies and they'll say to you, look, um, we'll supply you the product. We want you to make this video on it. And people don't know their own worth, especially with YouTube channels. And so initially I did a little bit of that, but then as I started getting bigger, they were like, oh well, if we supply you this light, even though it was a light I wanted, because I knew they were good lights because I had other versions and this, that, and the other. The company's like, well, we'll supply you the light, you make this video for us. I'm like, well, no, I'll make the video, you pay me 2.5 grand and supply me the light.
yeah.
And that's what they done, not once, but they done that 3 times. um, Miracle Grow, I've done a video of. They wanted me to promote a range of products that were all chemical based, and I told them to keep their money because I'm an organic gardener and I
It goes
will not.
against what you believe. Yeah, you don't want to
Absolutely
sacrifice
right.
your
So
integrity, your ethics, whatever, just for a bit of money.
that's right. However, they have an organic range, so I was happy to promote that. So a video was arranged. In fact, 2 videos were arranged this year for that, and I was paid £6,000 for those 2 videos. However, um, they've messed me about so much. uh, they wanted me to they sponsored me last year, and they sponsored videos this year, and they want to sponsor videos for next year, and I've already told them that I will not be doing it next year. I don't want their money, and not because the product wasn't any good, because it was organic and it was fine, it worked no problems at all, it did everything I was expecting it to do. Only that they messed me about, which then threw out everything else I was doing. I was chasing my tail with emails to them, trying to chase up products, and that took up so much of my time. I could have written 30 or 40 blog posts
Yeah,
in that
and
time.
we do what we do because we don't want that. We want to do what we want to do, take control of our own
Yeah,
time, plan out our own stuff. We don't want some other company or person dictating when
yeah.
and what you're doing.
So you'll get companies that will reach out to you. You just need to know your worth. I'll maybe touch on that a bit later. And then you'll have companies that you'll approach. And so early this year, I approached a company called Northern Polytunnels.
Yeah, I was going to say,
And
tell me the Northern Polytunnel story. I've got that on my
so,
notes.
so, so I've got in my garden. I've got a 34-foot long by 14-foot long polytunnel that I built. I did a series on building one yourself using scaffolding poles and everything else. All right, but I'd taken over another part of land that I wanted to put a second tunnel on, and I thought, well, why am I paying for a tunnel if I can get it sponsored and I can build a video and kill all these birds with one stone?
Yeah.
But I wanted a specific tunnel because I'd done so much research on this tunnel that it really was good. And
So you
I
knew what
really
exactly what
wanted
you
this
wanted. Yeah.
tunnel. Yeah, I knew the exact model I wanted, how big I wanted. I knew everything about this tunnel. I wanted this tunnel. So I thought, well, I'm going to reach out to the company. And I reached out to them and I had the reply, a couple of word reply, sorry, we don't work with influencers. I thought, hmm. So I thought, right,
Okay.
okay, well, maybe if I buy the tunnel and they have an affiliate link, I can earn the money that way. So I wrote back to them, great, I can't find an affiliate link on your website. Do you have an affiliate link? Sorry, we don't deal with influencers. I was like, oh. So
Okay.
I thought, right, okay. So I spent the 5 grand on the tunnel anyway,
For
because I
you'll
thought,
still make
well,
some good content. You get your tunnel. It'll still be okay. Yeah.
absolutely. I was going to have the tunnel. I wanted that tunnel. So I made the content and I tweeted them the link to the content.
Okay.
And when I tweeted them that link, within about 2 hours after tweeting them, I had an email from them saying, we love the video. We want to be able to sponsor, your video series. Can we, can we refund you? Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
So they refunded me. But not only that, They then sent me a load of extras for the tunnel, and they asked whether or not they could promote my video on their website. So
Okay.
now on their website, they've got this specific tunnel. It's called a hobby range on their website. And if you look at it, they've got all of their build videos, and my video appears right above them. So it's literally right in the top of the fold of the page, my video for building this. So not only did they refund all my money, they gave me a backlink as well.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, then they wrote to me saying that the owner of the company had seen the video. He was that chuffed. They are now working on an affiliate scheme for affiliates, so that they can now start working with influencers because of the quality of that video that I
Wow.
produced.
That's amazing.
They
So,
are
but did you not ask them and say, but why were you so dismissive in the beginning?
I did,
Did you?
and they told me that they'd worked with influencers before. The quality of the video was so poor. They didn't get the setup instructions right, so it was giving false information. They and they
It's
wanted
like,
to be
oh,
in
they're
control.
like a dog when it gets bitten, or a child when it hurts itself. They never touch that again. They
Don't like
get
other dogs, yeah.
once bitten, forever smitten. Is that
And
what people say?
but I'm pleased to say, like, they emailed me then to say that they're now setting up this affiliate thing, and that links will be available via via them as of November. So I'll have a link now that I can put in there. But on top of that, they then got in touch with me 3 months later, which was just like a couple of weeks back, asking if they could sponsor an update on the tunnel. And I said, well, I'm going to give my honest review on it. I love the tunnel anyway, so it's going to be a good review. But before I even said that, I said, look, I'll do it, but it's going to be an honest review. But as you're going to be providing me links and this, that, and the other, and you've gone and changed your tune as a one-off thing, I'll do it for 750 quid. So they've paid for that as well. So out
They
of
got a
something
bargain.
that was, yeah, out of something that was negative, and a rejection in effect, I totally turned it around to where I got links to my website, because I wrote blog posts on it, so they were promoting those as well. So I got links to my blog, links to my YouTube channel. I got my money back on the tunnel. I got extras for my tunnel, and I got another sponsored video out of it, all because I went and done it anyway. So sometimes you got to do what's best for your audience. It was good content. It was a tunnel I
Yeah.
wanted because I'd already done the research. And just because
Just
I
because
could
they
have
say
gone
no
to
doesn't
another
mean you have to stop. Yeah.
yeah, I could have gone to another company, and I could have guaranteed I would have got a tunnel out of another company, and I would have had it free. But I wanted that tunnel because of how
Yeah.
good it was,
That's a great story.
you know.
Let's go through a few more
So
questions, and then I've got a few more questions as well.
okay,
We're going to run till about 3 o'clock. How are we doing for the likes in terms of the giveaway? 54 likes. We need to
55.
get up to 55. We're close. If you want to win some WP Eagle merch, you notice I'm got the embroidered on today. It's very nice. I just shipped one to India. God, that cost a fortune, but hopefully we'll get there. Anyway, Mr. Unrealness says, do you find it harder in the garden niche, to rank for topics in Google since it's so competitive? Now, it is competitive garden niche. I know at least 2 people that are in it. One of them, or 2 of them, are in the chat room right now. What do you think
Do you
about
know, I think
competitiveness?
it's all down to your search analysis. Like any other niche, you're going to have all your normal search terms, like oh, how to do this or how to do that. They're going to be covered by the main gardening companies and everything else. You have to find that back door in, and finding the keywords that that will get the traffic but will allow you in the back door, and then build out topic relevance on that. So when you
Yeah,
build topic relevance, a prime example is that I'm a huge composter, and not only did I write articles on composting and put my compost videos in, I've broken the whole process down into their own subsections of it. So all of a sudden, when they're all interlinked to each other, it now forces me to go into topic relevance in effect, and Google will see that and then eventually take me as gospel,
as the
so
authority on that. Yeah,
yeah, so you have to create that, and the only way you do that is by finding a keyword that's going to allow you in the back door that no one else is using. It just
yeah,
takes
that's a great
time,
way to get started. It does take time. Yeah,
but I think the biggest issue I think a lot of people do is they think, right, I got to find a long-term keyword, and because there's a huge company using this. I mean, for some of my blogs that I'm now ranking number one for, number two, or number three for, I'm going over the top of some major companies like Sutton's and Thompson and Morgan and things like that. These are huge companies. And gardening know-how. These are companies that have thousands and thousands of articles. They have huge amounts of writers, and and I've just won over them because I come in a different angle, and that's what it's about. So I don't think any niche is unable to be. I think you can make it easier on yourself by finding the right niche. But gardening is my passion, so
Yeah.
because it's my passion, I find it easy to write about. It's what I know, and I know things that a lot of people don't, so that when I'm writing my blogs, they stand out and it's all original
Yeah, you
content.
can be unique. I mean, that's the great thing about any niche that you want to get into. It's going to be unique. It's going to be different to everyone else because it's you and you're unique.
Yeah,
And the other thing, I mean, if a niche has got lots of competitors in it and it's quite busy, it means that there's probably quite a big audience out there, and there's a
yeah,
lot of people looking for that information. So if you can find that angle, as Tony says, and that could be like the start of a wedge, and you can kind of push your way in that way and build out from there.
I mean, for me, I've got a huge amount to eat around gardening as well, so that helps. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just because you've been doing it for so long and you've got so much great
Yeah.
content. Let's take a couple more questions. I know these are a little bit behind. I do hope that people are still here that answer these questions. Bradbury, let's go back to the thumbnail. I think you actually told me this earlier, that when you do make a change to a YouTube video, like changing the thumbnail, that does trigger something within YouTube, and it does then kind of test it out again. The algorithm
Yeah.
does some tests on
So
it. Is that
so
right?
what happens is, like if you make a big change on a blog post, Google has to relook at that blog post and retest it because you've changed something. It isn't what it originally thought it was, and it's the same thing for YouTube. So if you change a title or some of the meta description, or the thumbnail within your videos, then what they do is they repush that video out, but um, it never ever gets like as big a push as if you just launch that video. It's much smaller, but what it does, it's pushed out to a specific audience, and depending on the click-through rate and the average view duration and everything else, then will depend of whether or not it gets pushed out into other groups. Now, a lot of people are not aware when they release a video. You may have found that not all your subscribers will get that video, and that's because YouTube pushes it out in three waves. So they split your audience up into three audiences, or your subscriber list up into three groups, and it pushes it out to the first group. And depending on the results from the first group will depend whether it ever gets to the second group at all.
Yeah,
So
I
this
was
is why
aware that
it's
it did
really
something like this. Yeah.
yeah, so this is why it's really important, and why things like sub for sub don't work and things like that, and why it's really important to have, not get people just to sub you just for the sake of subbing you, because they're never going to watch. And if they don't watch, and they are the group of people that YouTube push your first video out to, and they don't watch, well, that's just killed your video.
Just has a
Um,
negative effect, yeah, because
yeah,
YouTube can be looking at the initial click-through rate, the initial audience retention,
your
view
view
duration, all those
duration.
metrics, and that
Yeah,
that what happens in the first couple of days after you upload is going to have a big effect on how far it then
absolutely.
gets pushed out.
And I think that was my problem with the avocado video. But then when I changed the thumbnail, it had that extra little push, and it may have generated enough
A bit of a
data
spike
for
on the
the
CTR or
algorithm.
something, yeah.
Yeah, enough data for the algorithm, or enough data where um, I pushed on to a second video, and enough people went to that second video. They thought, hang on, there's something here. Let's try a little bit more, and that's what happens. So, what by changing the thumbnail, what it does is it gives it that little extra push just to test it, and so it's a really good way of reviving an old video. So
Yeah.
you may have a video from 2 or 3 years ago that you think was a good video, but just didn't do what you wanted to. Change the thumbnail and put it back out there, and let YouTube just do a little bit more testing. If it doesn't go again, I probably wouldn't bother a third time, because the likelihood is it won't go then either.
No, that's good tips. Good tips. Ollie asks, do you think you get a lot of your website traffic from YouTube, or do people generally just stay on YouTube?
No, as I was telling Alex earlier on, I haven't even told. I think I've mentioned my website once in the whole time, and 85% of my traffic is organic, and the other 15% at the moment is coming from Pinterest. So
Okay, that's interesting.
so uh, for me, it's not coming from my YouTube channel as yet, but it is something that I plan on doing. I was saying to Alex earlier on about that I've got a whole strategy behind pushing the YouTube channel over to the website in over the next few months. But I wanted to have the content on there, and for Google to have found it before I worried about pushing anything else there. I wanted everything ranked. I didn't want to force anything by sort of getting, thousands and thousands of people coming from a YouTube channel that could have skewed things in the organic side of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, that makes sense. So tell us a little bit about your website, and in particular, what I want to find about, and this is kind of how we got talking actually, is and Carl has recently started doing this as well. Something I'm not very good at. I do it on WP Eagle. I test out products and buy products. More than happy to test out digital products because it's easier for me. But you, when it comes to gardening, I think you've recently done one on lawnmowers, and did you buy like 10 lawnmowers or something? Tell us a little bit about how you do these product type articles.
Yeah, I bought 11, and
11 lawnmowers, okay.
yeah.
So most
So
people say, I can't possibly afford or want to even think about buying 11 different products to
yeah,
test out, but
so
tell us.
right, okay. Let me first off, I had 11 lawnmowers. I bought four of them. The rest were donated
Okay.
for that. However, and I have that little bit of pull, I suppose, to be able to do that. But look, there are ways of being able to approach companies for product, and I think that a lot of people are doing it wrong. But if you're doing an affiliate sales page for, the best of this or the best of that, or 10 of the best of this, those days are gone where you can just pull 10 products off Amazon, stick them on a blog post, and say, these are the 10 best ones out of these, you'll go and buy them. They're gone. People now, especially with the way Google works in relevance and intent within their search algorithms, because if someone comes looking for a review, they want a review. They don't want a blog post that says, oh, these are the 10 best. They want someone to be there with the product in their hands, showing them exactly like Carl has done now with his streamers and everything else,
The pressure washer,
where
yeah.
where he's got it in his hand. He is there strimming the ground, finding out the issues behind that product. Now, as Carl did in his video, it was really good, and he noticed that the guardrail that was on his strimmer was getting in the way of getting up close to the wall to be able to strim against the wall. That's perfect. That's the sort of original information that Google wants to see, and by putting that clip into his blog post, that makes original content that no one else can copy, because that's Carl's findings. And it's the same thing like with myself when I do these things. That's the sort of information now that you're going to have to put in these blog posts to be able to get the affiliate commissions and things like that. An example, I've got a big grow tent coming. We're coming into winter now. I've got a lot of plants in my garden that are tropical, and I needed a big tent. So I've purchased that tent in order to do that, and I'll make a blog post. However, I do have other tents coming from other companies that have been donated so that I can make this content, and then I can say, well, these three tents are three that I've tested, and I'll obviously tell them that these two have been donated. This one I've purchased. I can show the receipts for that. But I can give an honest review across all three of them because I've got them here. I can take photos of me with them. And a prime example of this at the moment is, which is really hard to do, is I'm writing a blog post at the moment on riding mowers. Um,
Okay.
and as you know, they're expensive. They're 3 grand plus for one of those. I couldn't possibly go and purchase all of those that I could find because this is like an ultimate resource. So what I've done is I wrote a typical blog post for this where it's giving all the facts and this, that, and the other. I've created tables around it, created all benefits around it and everything else. And I've got quotes from people who have them. And then I will put that blog live, although I won't have had the photos with me. But what I'm doing in the meantime, while that's starting its ranking, is I'm approaching companies so that I can go and test them. So
Yeah,
I will literally travel to that company. I will get on them. I will use them the best I can. There'll be some video footage of that, and eventually that'll be incorporated into the blog post. So although I
that's the
don't
way it's
have
going.
them
Is it?
with me,
This high quality content, and you've got to figure out ways that you can get your hands on these products.
yeah, there is no way I could go, for argument's sake, and spend 40 grand on 10 of these
Not
ride
this year,
on
maybe
mowers.
next year.
Yeah,
So
that'd be
and
great.
also when you've got like all these lawnmowers and things that people have sent you, and you've created your content, what do you then do with these? I guess you haven't got a shed big enough for that many lawnmowers.
No,
What
so
happens?
some things I will repackage and resell. Others,
What, just
if
eBay
I
them or whatever?
think, yeah. So and then I might get three-quarters of my money back on them or something like that. Others I will keep, and I may do like a yearly sort of update on them type of thing. And then there are maybe some other ones that maybe weren't too expensive or that I was gifted by the companies or whatever else. Then I may give that away. Something I'm thinking about doing is giving those away on my YouTube channel, but in order for people to get involved in that giveaway, they've got to go to register via the website. It's one of the ways I'm thinking of getting people to the website. Now, I don't want to get people to the website just for the giveaway, but I've got to figure out all the pros and cons around that. But it's a way of promoting the website through the channel. But eventually, we'll give all those away. I mean, over the years, I've given away greenhouses worth £4,000 each. And in fact, I
Wow.
give away a couple of those. I've given away like vouchers from companies. I've given away. I can't count how many products. I mean, for those of you who've got websites that may be looking for something coming up to Christmas now, if you do get a sponsor, for years I ran an advent calendar on my website. It was a fantastic way to draw people. It wasn't this site, but it was an older site called UK Year We Grow, which I owned, and I literally created a page of 25 windows that went to extra pages. Yeah, with just hyperlinks, and
Yeah.
people every day would come to the website, they'd click on the window, it'd open up a page telling them who the winner was, and they'd have to register the month before, and they would get a prize that came directly from the sponsor. So it wasn't even something I had to handle.
Oh, they
And
sent it all out and dealt with that. That's
they
good.
they dealt with all of that. So it's just another way of thinking about using those products or the sponsors, and then I've had other sponsors where I've had a load of free stuff off them because I've contacted them and said, look, there's a school in Norfolk that's just had all of their polytunnels and their gardens trashed. I want to go up there and help them. I want to make a video about it. I need the product, so send it to me. And that's what they've done. And then I've travelled all the way to Norfolk, which is the other side of the country. I've
Yeah.
spent the day with that school, rebuilding their polytunnels, planting, giving them all new tools and everything else. And I made a video about it. Um,
That's really cool.
so it's just things like that you can use the sponsors for, which helps to build brand awareness and build the sponsor's brand as well.
Yeah, and
So
allows you to
it's a
create
win-win.
fantastic, unique content that's not going to be available anywhere else, and
Yeah,
share information
absolutely.
that people are really looking for when it comes to products. Just
Yeah,
quickly on the sponsored videos, do you actually have to say within your videos that they're sponsored? Do you tick that box in YouTube that says it's got
yeah.
paid placement, all that stuff?
Yeah, it's part of the policy. If you don't tick that box and you do a video, and a lot of people get mistaken, they think if they haven't been paid, that it's not sponsored. If you're receiving a product to demonstrate, or you're receiving a cash payment, or you're receiving a kickback of any form, whether it's the product or anything else afterwards, then that's a sponsored content, and you have to tick that box.
So even if I say I bought a bit of software, made a video on it, and I then shared my affiliate link, is that sponsored
No,
content?
no, affiliate links aren't sponsored, okay? Because
Okay.
that's something that's done without the organization getting involved. Yeah.
Yeah.
So an affiliate isn't a sponsored link, so you don't need to put that in. And this is where the argument was with Google when they wanted everybody to turn their rel canonical tags and what have you to rel sponsored for
On affiliate links,
affiliates.
yeah.
Yeah, because it's not actually a sponsored. It has nothing to do with that company, so they have no control over you doing it, and more often than not, they don't even know you're doing it. So, an affiliate link isn't a sponsored post, and is nothing to do with the company in itself, in effect.
No. Okay, perfect. Let's fire through a few more questions. We'll go for about another 10 minutes, then we'll try and do the giveaway. We're up to 69
Come on,
likes.
folks,
So we're
we need another
very
12.
close. Hit that like button if you haven't done so already. That really would be a good thing to do. Just a quick question regarding your domain name. And we've already spoke about this, so I know the answer. Was it new or was it an age domain?
So when I bought the domain, I thought it was new. I'd done a few searches, couldn't find anything, and I even went to Wayback Machine and I couldn't see anything there. So I don't know what was happening, but one day I just happened to be on Wayback Machine looking for a domain that is going to be for my second website that I'm just starting now. And I wanted to put that in Wayback Machine. And just out of curiosity, I put my channel name back in there. And all of a sudden, it pulled up shots from 2002. So the domain itself was actually an old domain that was used. Now, don't get me wrong. I was a little bit unlucky. And this is what I was talking to you about with Carl's earlier on, in that I didn't know my website had a history. And it had a huge spam score back in 2002.
Yeah.
And it really, really did affect things. And I thought, wow, what's going to happen? And for a few months, nothing was working right, and I couldn't figure it out. And then all of a sudden, things started working and what have you. And I think what happened was that Google just needed enough time to realize this wasn't the same spammy.
It was a new site. Yeah,
it was a whole brand new site, and now the spam score is like 1%, so it's not a problem. But it was huge. It was like 47 or 48% spam score.
wow, that's pretty high, yeah.
So I was really lucky in the fact that it came out and worked. But the annoying thing was I didn't know about it at the time, and nothing came up in Wayback Machine when I first looked at it. And of course, so after that, then I went and got all of the Facebook, the Twitters, the Instagrams, the Pinterests, and every other thing to go with it. and then I see that, I'm thinking, oh, what have I done? I've made a big mistake here. I'd already made the rebranding video and it'd gone live, and so I was like, Christ, I was like, oh no, but it is what it is. And I was lucky it's all sorted, and
It's
like
all
I said,
right
I'm
now.
seeing, and I'm on the growth curve now. It's shooting. The monetization every day is jumping by leaps and bounds, so it's good.
Fantastic. So there was a couple of other things I do want to ask you. Then I'm just going to rattle through the comments and then we'll do the giveaway.
No problem.
So one thing I've noticed on your website, you've got you're trying to obviously build your email list by giving away, I think it's a guide on how to grow tomatoes. Is that right?
Yeah.
How's that working for you?
Really good.
And how did you come up with the idea for a tomatoes guide and not an avocado guide or an aloe vera guide?
Because it's just down to thinking about the amount of people at the time. Now, what will end up happening over like the summer months, tomatoes are really topical and relevant. So what I may do is make more guides so that over time, I just haven't had the time to do it with putting out 348 posts in the first year, is to write more ebooks that I can give away and change that on a monthly basis, depending on what's relevant at the time. So
that makes
one
sense,
month
yeah.
it may be like composting, the next month it may be tomatoes or cucumbers or whatever the case being. The month after it may be down on harvesting or jobs to do or whatever the case being. So just small little ebooks. I mean, I think that one was like 7,000 or 8,000 words.
How long did it take for you to put that together?
Uh, Probably around about 2 days, but
Wow.
um,
Okay. And people do
but the
opt in.
thing,
I mean, I don't know what kind of percentage are you looking at on your
yeah,
opt in rate?
I'm looking at 22%.
Wow.
It's
Wow.
huge, and it's working really well. And
And what kind of stuff are you sending out to your list?
so at the moment, I'm just doing the generic sort of newsletter, blog updates,
Here's
and
my
things
latest
like
video.
that.
Here's my latest blog
Yeah,
post. That kind of thing.
right.
Okay.
However, the plan behind that is to have uh, on sign up there'll be like a week's worth of information. Now, whether
Like
that'll
on an
be,
autoresponder.
yeah, on an autoresponder, whether that'll be blog posts and this and the other. Initially, when I set it up, I didn't have the content to be able to do that. So, but rather than just a link to the blog, there'll be the actual blog as an information or something like that. But it'll be topical relevance in however way they were brought in. So there'll be different systems set up. Um, so if you came in and, for argument's sake, vegetable growing, then the articles that may be sent out as an informational thing will all be based around getting the best out of your vegetables. Or if you came in and house plants, it'll all be set up based around house plants type
That
of
makes
thing.
sense. So kind of
Uh,
segmenting your list down into what people are actually into and
Absolutely.
what they want to do.
And then and then what will happen then? I'll use that then to promote any courses or books and
That
things
leads
like
me on
that.
to my next question, actually, which is you mentioned that you're working on a course. I've got
Yeah.
a couple of questions on this. Number one, why are you developing a course? Are you not making enough money from affiliate and YouTube and the rest of it? And two, how on earth do you go about putting a course together? Is it just kind of existing content repurposed, or are you starting from scratch?
No, this course is. Uh, I've planned this course down to the last detail. I think with a course, it's not a YouTube channel, is it? It's not a YouTube video. People expect one sort of thing on YouTube, but if they were paying for it, they'd expect something completely different.
Yeah.
And so this will go. The specific course that I'm in the middle of looking at now is on composting. It will go into the nuts and bolts of composting. I've already got a real detailed video on composting on my YouTube channel because I go above most people anyway when I make my videos. But this specific video or this specific video course will be every little thing, going right the way down to understanding what nitrogen is, understanding how the mechanics of the organics work, how all the bacteria works,
Wow. So
all of
a lot
that.
more detail than you
Oh,
put on
huge
YouTube.
amounts, yeah. I mean, I've already planned it out. I mean, the mind map is just huge for it, and then every section is already done. I've been storing a lot of stuff up the garden at the moment, and I haven't been making the compost because I need to do it. And then there's all different sorts of composting, like trench composting, kapashi. Bokashi composting, and just standard vessel composting, and there's vermicast compost. There's so many different things,
Wow, I
and
didn't know
this
there was
one
so much
course.
about compost. I thought you
Oh
just chucked your old kind of veg peelings in a bin and that was it.
no, it's huge. So it's already planned, and the sales page is already complete for it. The only thing I need to do is actually film it. But I've just been waiting for everything to start dying back on the garden so that I can have the materials in which to do it. So I'll be
Okay.
filming
So
that
yeah,
now
my
over the
original
next few
question was though,
months.
what was why though? Why a course? Do you think it's the next kind of to take
Because
your income to the next
I,
level and also again move away from the reliance on YouTube?
yeah, so as I said to you earlier on, the reason I hadn't quit work was because YouTube can just flick a switch and it's gone.
Yeah.
And for me, I've built an audience that I want to be able to continue serving. And to do that, you need to be able to pay the bills so the lights don't go out. So doing, by actually creating a course, I am now in control of my own destiny, if you
Yeah.
like,
You've got your own
because I'm
product,
not
your own
yeah,
audience.
I'm not reliant then on YouTube giving me audience. I'm not reliant on Google giving me audience because once the content is there, I can find audience anywhere. I'm
Yeah.
not then reliant on affiliate companies still keeping the affiliates running. We all know Amazon has cut commissions, especially in
Yeah.
gardening, from 8% to 3%. So I'm not reliant on that. And instead of just getting 3% of something, I've created a course
Get
and I'm going to
100%.
get 100% of it. So what that allows me to do, it's going to give me the capital I need in which to firstly leave work, which will give me more time to create better content. So effectively, everybody wins from it. And
Yeah.
the people who buy the course are going to have all the knowledge they need, that they will never have to worry about composting again. So it's a win-win.
Sounds great. I can't wait to see the course. Right, let's quickly rattle through some of these. And I guess just as an add-on, you're going to sell the course. You've built up your email list. That'll be the first place to start.
Yeah. Yeah.
You've got organic traffic possibly, but then also, as you are making 100% of the revenue, you can afford maybe to spend on things like ads and stuff. So, as you said, you then have control over your traffic sources, and
Yeah,
you can kind of
absolutely.
pick and choose.
And I think the other thing as well is the fact now that I think Google is working in terms for us a little bit more now with this mum update, in that they're going down the picture side of things. So those that are creating original content, well, they're going to have original pictures, they're going to have original video, they're going to have, so they all of a sudden there are multiple ways in which to pull in. Like, I've got quite a large Pinterest group now, so all of those pins could potentially be pulled in, because Google are in talks with Facebook and Twitter and Instagram and all that now about using their photos in the SERPs for this mum update. So
Yeah.
there's huge possibilities there, and by selling it, I think it's it's not going to be for everybody. But when you consider the email list at the moment is stood at 28,000 people.
Wow.
I've only been doing that in the last 5 months. So,
That's some incredible growth.
yeah, it is really good. But there are other things, about that, but not just that. It's about finding lots of different revenue streams, so that if one dries up, it's not going to hit you so much. And
No,
a
that's
prime
the key, isn't
example
it?
of that is I have a sponsored advert on my website in the sidebar just underneath my book, from Oakland Gardens,
Yeah.
and that company is paying me £450 a month to put that there. So
Wow.
I've already got that, and it's a company I've worked with on a regular basis, so I know they're a good company. I haven't got to worry about that. So there's that there. So all of a sudden now there's income coming in that's, I wouldn't say guaranteed, but you can count on it for
It's
a while.
diversified. Yeah. You if
Yeah,
one bit fails, it's not going to be a disaster.
yeah, and that's what it is. And I got some merch going on, and some this, that, and the other.
Oh yeah, I
So
saw some of the
there's good
merch.
things coming in.
Looks good. Looks good. You should
You know,
definitely go check out Tony's merch on the website. Right, let's wrap for these questions, and then in 2 minutes we will do a giveaway if we can get to 88 likes. I think we're up to 74 or 14 likes. If you haven't hit that like button, it's a fantastic stream today with Tony on. Loads of information being shared, so I can't see why you wouldn't want to click the like button. But anyway, let's quickly go through these questions. So, does having a YouTube channel help as backlinks to your website? I'll answer that. I'm pretty sure that it does. The links that are in your description. I don't know why I can't bring up the comments on the screen. Never mind. Full credit to Tony. This is from Carl. I don't know why I can't put it up. There we go. Because Carl is also in the gardening niche now, but he says that you've been very supportive and haven't just said, "Oh, you jumping on my niche." I think because Tony's confident that his content is always going to be number one. Right, let me quickly scroll.
plenty of room for everybody at the top, guys.
Yeah, exactly. D says, good luck in buying a lawnmower at the moment. In the UK, they're out of stock everywhere.
They are, yeah. Yeah, it's hard work. And I think this is down to global thing as well. You go onto Amazon and you notice loads of products that are out of sale. And it's down to this shipping issue they're having
Yeah,
globally,
there's not
where
enough
they
people at the
can't get
port.
the containers
Yeah,
done. Yeah.
there's not enough people at the port. There's not enough people driving trucks. Baz says you get 30 days and you can return them. You do with most products, but they won't let you return it if you've cut some grass with a lawnmower, for example, will they? If you've used it, and I guess you want to use it if you're doing a review.
I think the days of being cheap are gone, and if you want to make money, Either you drop ship a product if you want to make more money, or you go down the affiliate side, but you've got to have that product in your hand. And the only way to do that is to get an expensive product, because then at least the 3% is worth having.
Yeah, exactly. Hassan, good to see you, Hassan. He says, look, Tony, you've learned so much obviously doing this. Why don't you set up a blogging affiliate marketing YouTube channel like myself and Carl?
Well, who knows what's on the cards at the moment?
Maybe there's good commissions on digital products. You know that.
Well, I work 48 hours a week, so and I've got a family and everything else.
You
guys know
what
what it's like juggling that. So who knows what's on the cards when I'm full time?
Yeah, who knows? I like cruise ships. So should I give up blogging and start a YouTube channel, or is there room for both? I think Tony's kind of explained that you need a mix of both. The more things you got on, the better. You don't want to just be reliant on one of those. No. Jim's here. Where have you been, Jim? Says Carl. I was wondering that myself. How did you check the spam score on the your old domain name? Where did you get that number from?
So there's a website. Bear me a sec. I'll tell you what it is. No, website seochecker.com.
Okay.
And if you put your domain in that, it will give you your spam score.
Okay. Thank you. Did you buy any content? Did you hire any writers or anything like that, or did you just write it yourself?
Yes. So at the moment now, I have 6 writers. I have 2 VAs. Only because if I was just reliant on the amount that I could write personally, then I would never get enough content to be able to create some momentum. So I made the decision to utilize the YouTube money that I was earning to be able to kickstart that. But now it's funding itself. But like I said, for the big money things and what have you, I'm writing that. I'm still filming. I was filming before I did this, and I'll be back at the garden filming after as well.
Perfect. Phil says, I bet lockdown had a massive increase on your traffic. Everyone was getting into gardening, weren't they, when they were in lockdown?
Yeah, it was good for growth. I'm not saying that. I think what you'll find is a lot of people back then, though, they were looking for information, but they weren't necessarily looking to buy anything. So the affiliate side of it wasn't great, but the informational posts and the informational videos did well.
Makes sense. John says, this has got to be one of the best YouTube lives I've watched. There you go, Tony. He loves it.
Thank you.
This actually, I was going to ask this good question, Jaban. We talked about email earlier. What software are you using for your email lists and stuff?
So I'm using MailerLite for that, and I find that their forms are pretty good and they're cheap.
Thank you. Perfect. Question. I see that you use quoted reviews from Amazon in your buying guides and give credit to the people writing them. Is this allowed by Amazon? What happens if the reviewer modifier deletes the review? Sorry, if the reviewer modifies or deletes the review.
So I contacted Amazon about that, and I've only just started using it. And Amazon has assured me that is fine, providing that I keep an eye on it. And if they remove the review, then I remove it from the website. Other than that, there's no problem with it at all.
Perfect. Good. Everyone is saying that they've really enjoyed it. Ninja Hooya asks, because you seem very knowledgeable about Google algorithms and how stuff works. Where are you learning this, Tony?
So, I've been around YouTube for a long time, and so for that, yeah, I've learned loads of stuff from people like Daryl Eves and what have you. I've spent the last 10 years learning YouTube. In one form or another, and for blogging, I did the most of the information I learned from blogging was through Income School. That got me started, and then obviously everything else. Then it's like anything else. Once you start that seed growing, you want to know more and more, and then you end up down the rabbit hole, don't you? So all of a sudden you think, right, okay, I need to now learn what's going on in Google. So you sign up to Mueller's sort of updates and this, that, and the other, and then eventually you're taking in all this information, and it's surprising what you learn over time.
Yeah, you just got to find the right people and get onto their stuff, subscribe,
Well,
mailing
that's
list, that
why,
kind of stuff.
I mean, Alex, I've been subscribed to you just before you started the Rooftop Box
Oh yeah.
site. So,
Okay.
it was a long time ago. And in fact, my very first site was like an affiliate site, and it was on a theme that you mentioned, which I went and bought, and I had nothing but problems with.
Yeah.
but
Yeah, thanks.
that got me started initially in affiliate marketing, was seeing your channel. So
Thank you. Well, that's same as Carl. I've done a few things. It warms my cockles. Thank you very much. Question from I Like Cruise Ships. Do you have anyone filming you? Because your videos do look very professional. Does someone do your filming and editing, or are you doing that yourself?
I do it all myself. So I learned quite quickly that you need a tripod, and
Yeah.
what I do is I'm not very good at thinking about what I want to say. So you get a lot of ums and ahs and stuff, and I learned
Yeah.
quite quickly that people will turn off quite quickly. So what I do now is I don't script everything, but I make sure I have a good bulleted list of what I want to say, and then you'll notice that there's always a change or a pattern interrupt of location between certain paragraphs. So I might say like something I can remember, maybe a couple of minutes of lines, and then I'll be in a different location for the next step. And that allows me to edit that together, cut out all the rubbish and everything else, without it looking jarred or anything, just by
Without
doing a
doing
jump
too many
cut.
jump cuts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I don't care about
So,
the jump cut.
and again, I use a lot of B-roll and stuff. The editing, I'd never edited anything before in my life, and I had to learn editing, and I did that all over YouTube. I use Premiere Pro, and I just found a channel that did Premiere Pro tutorials, and I learned to do it from there. Eventually, it's probably something I'll end up outsourcing, the editing eventually, but at the moment, I enjoy doing it.
Okay. I think we've hit the likes. Perfect.
Fab.
So I think we'll do the giveaway in a second. Just Baz, Drop the UK, with name inspired by me. I think he took my comments literally. Tony, you're an inspiration. Not only do you do the online stuff, but you risk your life putting out fires. Top guy. You're one of the good ones. Yeah, completely agree. Quick one from Ollie. You've already said how long it took your YouTube to take off, which was many years. But how long did the website take to start going?
So I got the bones of the website up and running in June, I think, of last year. And the first posts were put on in September of last year. So there was a couple of posts I dragged from the old UK Here We Grow website. I think about 7 or 8 posts. They went on, but other than that, that was it. And the reason I didn't direct it was I had a few issues with the URL from that, the domain from that one as well. I wanted to just dump it and start afresh. So it's really only been running for about a year now, coming up.
Okay, about a year. That's pretty young. Great. One question from John, and then I'm going to switch to the other camera and we'll do the giveaway. Are you coming to Carl's affiliate gathering?
I certainly am.
Wow.
I was probably one of the first people to buy Carl's ticket.
Wow, fantastic. I'm sure after this, Carl will be asking you to get on a panel or do some speaking or something. I think John wants to buy you a beer, so... no, Baz does. So, I don't know, if you've got a donation, PayPal or something like that, he'll sort you out. Let's transition. Okay, if you want to win a bit of WP Eagle merch, you've got to say something in the chat. Now, let me see if I can get Tony up here with me. There he is. Perfect. Right, yeah, say something. You've got 30 seconds. Say something in the chat right now. We've hit 88 likes, so we can do a giveaway. Of course, got WP Eagle mugs. I just realised that Tony's looking at the back of my head. Let me just do that. There we go. Perfect. Fantastic stream today. Do go check out Tony's channel. Get subscribed. He'll be up to 300,000 before we know it. Here's the website. It is a little bit broken. A few people have said that, but is Zoica going to fix that? I'm sure they will. That was a big cabbage, by the way, on that picture I found of you.
67 pound in weight.
Wow. What did you do with it? Did you eat it? What did you make soup? What do you do
so
with it?
I like to test things, and I'm attempting a few world records, and those giant veg end up to a homeless shelter then in Cardiff.
Okay.
And they make soup and things out of them. So
perfect. Right. 10 more seconds. Baz asks, do you grow rhubarb? I'm sure you do.
Sorry, what was that?
Do you grow rhubarb?
Baz, have a look on my channel. There's a rhubarb there, and I just missed the world record by 1.5 ounces this year.
Wow. What do you do with rhubarb? A crumble? I remember back in the old days, you just used to kind of break a bit off and dip it in some sugar. You remember that?
You won't be breaking this off in sugar. It was 5 feet something tall.
Wow.
Just one stem. So, and that was without the leaf on it. So,
amazing.
But yeah, have a look at it. You'll see it. The plant hides a whole IBC container.
Wow. Okay, time's up. Let's do this. Let me get the not wheel along. Wheel of names. I'll refresh this. Everyone wants a mug today. Oh, hang on, the list seems quite small. Is that right? Everyone say something again. It seems to have reduced the number of participants. There we go. We've run out of music, so are you all in here? I don't know. Let's get the music going again. It was a long 30 seconds niche size. That's it. It looks better now. I'm going to take... Oh, God, it keeps moving. All right, stop now. I'm going to put Xenodonut in at the end. I need to find a better way to capture these names. All right, let's go. We're running out of time. Here we go. It's going to be Phil the Magician. Does Command A work on that? No, it selects the whole page. Bradbury, thanks for the tip. Well, there we go. Phil, drop me an email and I'll sort you something out. But it's time for us to go. Let's just bring Tony up full screen and then we'll say goodbye. Where are you? You've gone again. There he is. Thank you very much, Tony, for joining me.
No problem.
Did you enjoy it?
Pleasure.
Let's kill the music for a second.
Yes, I have enjoyed it.
Good.
And hopefully people have learned something to do with YouTube and it'll benefit them.
I think they have. I think you've shared a wealth of information. I think a lot of people are going to be watching this back again just to make sure they haven't missed anything. Yeah, do check out Tony's stuff. It's good to talk to you. It'd be good to catch up sometime again soon. I'm thinking I need to get some kind of group together of people to talk, myself, Carl and others. It'd be great to have a little hangout once a month or something. But anyway, Tony's going to be coming to York, so make sure that you've got your ticket for Affiliate Gathering. wpeagle.com/gathering. Go get your tickets. I'm going to be there. Tony's going to be there. Carl's going to be there. Loads of people are going to be there. It's going to be fun. But yeah, I'll let you crack on with some gardening now, Tony, and have a good day.
Back to filming. It's great. Have a good one. Thanks all. Glad you enjoyed it.
See you later. Transition. Oh, Tony, you still there? Hang on. What the heck? Hang on. There we go. Transition. . Oh, God, I've broken it now. Whew. Well, there was a lot of information. I'm exhausted. A lot of great tips there. YouTube thumbnails, email lists, courses, products. God, wasn't that a great stream? I hope you enjoyed that. Not bad for a Thursday, hey? Thursday streams are quickly becoming bigger and better than the Tuesday streams. I know. It's crazy, isn't it? But anyway, I really need to get on the school run, unless my wife's gone already, but I should probably go. It's my turn. So it's time to say goodbye. And yeah, do check out Tony's stuff. It's been great. Did you see my video? I put a video up yesterday on, for all you affiliate marketing skeptics, do go check that out. But I'm definitely going to be working on my thumbnails after what Tony said. But yeah, on that note, have a great day. Have a great week. I'll be back again on Tuesday with the Tuesday stream. And you never know, I might upload a few odd videos in between. But until then, good luck with your sites. Good luck with everything. And have a good weekend. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And thank you for all the likes as well. Great. Phil, the magician, drop me an email and I'll sort you out your merch. Until next time, bye for now.